Thank you, councillors. Starting first, can I have the prayer and acknowledgement of country? Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. O God, grant that by the knowledge of thy will, all we may resolve shall work together for good. We pray this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation and extend that respect to other Aboriginal peoples from other nations who are present. He skipped all the way in.
Sorry. All right, councillors, please note that representatives of the media are here and have been approved to use a recording, and some have been approved to use a recording device to record this meeting if they're records if they wish. I also advise that council is now web streaming its standing committees and council meetings live to the internet, and as such, all those present should refrain from making any defamatory statements. As the signs indicate upon entry to the council chamber, your attendance at this meeting in the chamber is your acceptance of the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archives of the recorded council meetings and standing committee meetings. So, up first we have confirmation of minutes. Can we have a mover and seconder of that, please? Move Councillor Parker, seconded Councillor Diffie. Any discussion or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? Now we have moving on to leave of absence. Can I have we have a leave of absence in the name of Councillor John Ryan, and no other leave of absence has been recorded. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Etheridge, second Councillor Gumbley. Any discussion on that? Thank you. Okay, I'll move that. All those in favour? All right, no, carried. Up next, we now have public forum. We have Mrs Claire Booth regarding groundwater issues. Mrs Booth, as per our meeting code of practice, we have 5 minutes allocated for each speaker. If you could stick to the allocated time. Thank you very much. And just press the button there if you want to turn him on. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr Mayor, councillors, office bearers, members of the public, including those joining us from home online. Thank you for your time tonight. The penny is starting to drop across New South Wales as well as the nation and other drought-affected parts that severe drought conditions are creating tensions. In recent weeks, there have been uneducated media releases from Dubbo Regional Council which have not been fact-checked by the media. We met with the Mayor on Friday last week and he acknowledged that things could have been handled better. We accept that as an olive branch and have publicly committed to working with Council for the best outcomes for Dubbo. Water is a complex business. Our story tonight is not about jobs over water. How could that be? Water is our survival. Rather, the story is that there is a cost to taking productive water out of the Macquarie Valley. There are societal costs, economic costs, jobs, resulting in impacts to residential land prices, rural land prices, further stress to family farms with large debts, cascading stress to the small businesses who we buy our farm supplies from, many of whom are here tonight standing behind me. In short, we believe that the due diligence has not been done. There appears to be a focus on increasing the supply of water rather than a focus on reducing the demand for water. Today, Tamworth Council welcomed in Level 5 water restrictions, voluntarily. They understand that Section 324 of the Water Management Act allows them with the full discretion, without any cause for worry for any compensation, that they are going to preserve their water for this coming summer. We know that Council will not be holding a meeting in October. You will be in Japan. Tonight we ask that Council votes not only on Level 3 water restrictions to commence on the 1st of October, but that level 4 water restrictions commenced very shortly afterwards, on the 8th or the 14th of October. The city is burning. It is time for you to act. Other parts of New South Wales are doing the right thing. It is time for you to stand up and be counted. There were parts of your business papers which actually were incorrect. The Water Management Act states that water for critical human needs will always take priority over any other water user. It is required that in the dam that 2 years of supply is secured before any other water user, including the river water users, are allowed to use some water. Your papers state that Dubbo has currently extracted out of the ground 2,200 megs. The Department of Primary Industry and Environment, in fact, state that you used 2,700. On the basis that you're currently asking to use 5,500 megs, overstating in a public document that you've used 10% less water than what you actually have is something of grave concern. It is incredibly important that you are reporting the correct facts, not only in relation to the water that you're using, but also when you're going to start conserving some. We understand at the moment that level 5 water restrictions for Dubbo will require the city to consume 5,500 megs. We know that at the moment, an additional supply from a recreational bore of 450 and a further 350 that you'll save through recycled wastewater will mean that, in fact, Dubbo, when it commences its water restrictions, will be short 200 megs. You have our full support in relation to any water that you need for critical human need. We have placed it on the public record that you have the absolute entitlement to come and use any of our bores in Geary for the township of Geary. And to date, no one has actually written back to us to either let us know whether they're going to accept that. So on behalf of the tens of thousands of people that rely upon our groundwater, I please ask you tonight, do the right thing and start with water restrictions of a significant nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Booth. Next speaker we have Mr. Roger Fletcher regarding the groundwater position within the City of Dubbo.
And councillors, I come here today. I've been in business in Dubbo for 30 years. We've crossed a few dry gullies and we can cross a few more. And we've always been able to go. And you've got to understand, I'm speaking on behalf of my family, my 800 team of workers, the small farmers and the small villages that's under a lot of pressure, and my customers and suppliers. And that's a lot of people in Dubbo. The council's identified what's needed, but can't take up the challenge of doing it. So, first of all, I'd like to say we will work with you all the way. I will shoulder, I'll be in the front row, and if you want to be in the second row, we're going to get this done, but there's got to be restrictions on virtually straight away, because I think you've lagged. In our company, we've worked on this since April. When I went to the first meeting in May in Narromine, we could see the problem. We brought our amount of water back 25%, and I think we can do a bit better than that still. So that's just the challenge, and guess what? Wasn't my work or my daughter, it's a team out at Fletcher's that's done it. So guess what? Dubbo can do the same, and the community, I think, is right behind the whole lot of us. Don't be scared of the community. I think they're backing us. Have a look what happened in Cape Town. They did it. They went through a challenge and they took it all on. With doing that, I think you've got to give the awareness to the public, and you say you're going to do that. But I think the most important thing is, and we will finance it. We will finance a heap of this for you, so don't worry about the money. We like a challenge, and it's a bigger business than just water. So what we see is critical. The restrictions start straight away. You've got to go from 3 to 4 within a week. We went through what the business needs to do. We put it together in a couple of hours, so it's rubbish if it takes a month. The other issue is when you look at Orange and Tamworth on 150 litres per person, if we went to 5s, we're on 200, and on 4s we're on 245. So the people in Dubbo are going to get 100 litres a day more than those other towns. Please explain. The other issues, what we see is how to do this. I would be quite willing to help, that we put a challenge to the people of how much water we're using each day, how many litres per person on average. That means the challenge is there, what they can take forward. And then you've got to run it in the media. It's not rocket science, and under the plan there's no reason why we can't do this. The community's crying out for it. They know we got problems. Don't be scared to make the hard decisions. In my life we've made plenty of hard decisions. That's why we're still here and why we're still in Dubbo. This also affects us. Our boxes go to 80 countries around the world. Dubbo's promoted to 80 countries. And I'm not looking at it just for Dubbo or for Fletchers. I'm looking at it for the community as a whole, because most of the money comes into this town, comes from the farmers, goes through our operations. No money comes into the town. You can keep crying for government money, but guess what? They only can get it from taxes from people who's earned it. And let's be fair dinkum. Not in the other way, and I think you can easily do this. So with that, all I'm saying, our team's behind you, and I think the young people of Dubbo will be behind us. We can take them all along. And if someone said to me, like on Friday, oh, well, you know, we got the schools and the hospitals. We're a knowledge nation today. I mean, they mightn't have had the same knowledge as me, where we had a draft horse bringing a sledge up with water from the creek and we had no running water. That's what I was reared on. That's the 6 kids. That's how we were. So we've come a long way, and Australia can do it. So stop hiding behind curtains and taking your time, because the tank is running dry. Hopefully we get some rain and we don't need it. But as I always say, take the challenges up. That's why we've been able to survive and go across this country. Thank you very much.
Okay, councillors. Up next we have Mr. Stephen Chesworth from Little Big Dairy Company.
Yeah, thank you. I won't take as long as some of the other speakers. I don't have a speech prepared. I guess my angle is just to make sure we temper the language that's coming out of council, make sure we're not demonising one part of the water users. Let's not lay blame on the managers of the dam that perhaps they haven't looked after the town, when the truth, as we've heard earlier, is far from that, and that the town is a priority when State Water is making decisions with the dam. I would love to see that Dubbo Council uses language around our irrigators, and especially our bore water irrigators, what a critical part we play in the local council, not only with our intensive agriculture, which is what irrigation farmers tend to be, and so we, as a rule, will employ more people, we will value add, and we also are critically in need of that water, because we can't turn intensive industries on and off. But I would love to see the language coming out of Dubbo Council is how proud we are as a complete story of the city and the surrounding success stories that we have because of our underground water. I'd hate to think that we become an enemy to the city. I believe the story should be that we are, I guess, the city is almost here because of agriculture. And I think we have shown what we've done with the Little Big Dairy in the last 6 years, how we've grown our business, and we do believe that the city as a whole is proud of what we do. We're proud of what Fletchers do, but we're proud of what everyone does. And I think the city really thinks that. I would embrace it, encourage the council to embrace that and tell that success story for Dubbo. But that's my angle. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, there are no further registered speakers. Does anyone else in the gallery wish to speak? Go ahead. If you can just state your name for the...
Thanks very much. Peter Schuster. Good evening, Mr Mayor, councillors, office bearers and members of the public. Thank you for your time this evening. I would like to briefly discuss the water shortage facing Dubbo Regional Council and the council's efforts to deal with that. But I'd also like to touch on some of the damaging public commentary which has emerged regarding groundwater irrigation in recent times. As with the booths, we are family irrigators on the upper Macquarie groundwater source. We grow food and contribute to a supply chain that provides jobs and income for Dubbo businesses. Times are tough. Our business primarily focuses on grazing and directly supports 4 families. Our operation currently covers 3,200 hectares just south of Dubbo, but because of the season, we are relying on just 52 hectares of irrigation. This is all that is keeping us going and allowing us to continue to turn off healthy livestock to Dubbo regional sale yards and local buyers such as Fletchers. Irrigation is the only thing that is allowing us to continue to support local farm supply businesses, as well as local transport companies, local contractors, mechanics, and many more. We need to be and are efficient water users and employ the latest and most efficient forms of water delivery technology. We monitor soil moisture to ensure we only apply water when and where it is required, and we use satellite and drone technology to monitor plant response. We also talk to the experts to understand the aquifer and formed the Upper Macquarie Groundwater Group to help us do this. Through this group, we engage directly with scientists who monitor the water source via purpose-built monitoring bores strategically dispersed along the aquifer. These are also the scientists who inform the water sharing plan, which governs how much water we are allowed to extract from the aquifer. This water sharing plan is based on science and sustainable extraction limits. Through the plan, people come first, and that is why the allocation available to Dubbo remains at 100% when our ability to extract is reduced. There is a plan in place, it is a good plan, and it must be allowed to work. Irrigation is not bad. We are not the villains here. We are regulated and we are responsible water users. We create jobs for people in Dubbo, produce food and keep businesses going which otherwise would have fallen by the wayside in the face of this unrelenting drought. This is about people, families and sustainable water use. It's about the community of Dubbo as a whole, a community which includes agriculture at its heart, and we shouldn't forget that. There have been comments made in the media and on social media which pit the Dubbo community against groundwater irrigators. This is not fair nor helpful. We ask for these comments to stop. We also ask that the water sharing plan, which is based on science and ongoing monitoring of groundwater, be allowed to work. Finally, we commend the efficiency efforts described in the Council papers from page 31 and acknowledge the work Council has done, particularly the efforts of Mr Chris Devitt. We are here to work with you and look forward to the opportunity to do so. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okey doke. Okay. Councillors, will move on now to mayoral minutes. The first mayoral minute is and one and only mayoral minute tonight, is the water security strategy. It's containing a report about the water security strategy. Councillors, I formally move that report and say, councillors, I think it is high time that we do move to have a more stringent and more reflective water restriction regime within the Dubbo region. It's now become a matter of urgency that we do cut back our water. Perhaps it's not as clear as what it should be that we do need to move to level 4, as soon as possible. There's no doubt about that. If we need to actually codify that, I'll certainly invite an amendment that we do go to level 4 in the coming weeks as well. We do have to go through a period of working with local business to make sure that they have drought management plans in place. There are a number of businesses that do need to have that helping hand when it comes to a drought management plan, and the usual. And then when level 4 activates in the coming weeks, those drought management plans also activate. So I certainly invite councillors an amendment that we do put on the mayoral minute, that we also move to level 4 as soon as possible. So I'll open it up to debate. Councillors.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move an amendment to the recommendation, an amendment adding at point 2B that it currently reads, move to level 3 water restrictions effective 1 October 2019. I move to amend it that it include and move to level 4 water restrictions effective 1 November 2019.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Seconded. Any discussion or debate on the amendment? No. Councillor Moore.
Just a question through you, Mr Mayor, to Mr Devitt. Knowing we full well want to get to this to the quickest possible onset as fast as we can, is that feasible? Does that comply with all the regulations that we have to do as a council to inform businesses? And is it obtainable, or can we go earlier?
Through you, Mr Mayor. I believe it certainly is attainable. A key part of the strategy is not just looking at additional supply, but to reduce demand, and Council has in place a very comprehensive engagement strategy with the community to make that happen. That'll kick off in parallel with looking at new supply options. So I think it's a matter of, as has been indicated, the momentum's there for change. Get that message out there, and once that campaign basically starts tomorrow, it'll really, I guess, give us the opportunity and the momentum to go to individual enterprises and assist them to look at their water usage, at the same time engaging very actively with the community to ensure that everyone understands exactly what part they can play to help drive down demand. So I believe it is achievable.
Thank you. Further questions? Comments? No? Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, certainly I'm in support of your recommendation. We've heard from some speakers tonight, and they're all behind us, of course. And I think also at the moment the community is understanding the critical difficulties that actually facing council. Getting back to the amendment by Councillor Gumley there to bring in the level 4 in November. I would prefer to see level 4 effective 1st of October. Thank you.
Okay, further comments, questions? Councillor Gumley.
Perhaps just to put some context to the proposed amendment and the timeframe that of the 1st of November. Of course, we just heard Councillor Moore ask Mr Devitt whether or not that's achievable so far as assisting residents and businesses, certainly small businesses in their water saving plans and what have you. That was the reason that I proposed to month about, so that the community had the opportunity to start looking at ways to run their businesses more efficiently, rather than being required as of the 1st of October to start realising those efficiencies without adequate preparation.
Thank you, Councillor Gumley. Councillor Gumley, you're certainly right on that. The reality is we do have a real community emergency, more so a community engagement emergency, where we have gone to level 2 and our community, not being so used to water restrictions, have actually increased their water usage. Now, that is absolutely bizarre. It's disappointing that we cannot get the community to come on this journey with us when it comes to saving water. We desperately need to save water. At the moment, we are using way too much water. We're not even meeting our targets at number 2. We need to turn that around as quickly as possible by way of public education campaign. This is not just something council can do alone. It is something the entire community leaders across the board have to come with Dubbo Regional Council with. We all must be talking up these water restrictions. We all must be encouraging people right across the Dubbo region, every household, every business, every entity out there to work out, to look at ways to save water. The idea that us going to level 2 has actually caused the water use increase, in my mind, would have to be incredibly disappointing. We need to make sure that the community come with us on this journey. It is important, it is urgent. That being the case, that we do need that period of public education, noting that level 4 brings in a harsh fine regime. We need that public education. Council is about to start our biggest ever public relations and public education campaign in our history, based on saving water, based on the fact that Dubbo residents, because up until now we have had a very good water supply, have not been used to going on restrictions. There's not a lot of times when I'll say that Orange does it better than Dubbo. In fact, this is probably the only time I'll say that Orange does it better than Dubbo, and that is that they know how to save water better than us. We need to get in there and beat them at it. I need Dubbo regional residents to start saving water and start taking this seriously. Again, incredibly disappointing that level 2 hasn't worked, that we've only got a section of the community following level 2. We need to get this very, very serious. So, look, I certainly understand what you're saying, Councillor Parker. That's my views as well. We need to go a lot harder. And, but also our experts are also telling us we need that staged approach so we can get business ready and those big users ready. Thank you. Further comment? Councillor Parker, yes, a question?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And look, just reiterating what you mentioned there, that the community is aware of the water restrictions that are in place now. They were, prior to the restrictions coming in, probably watering once a week. So we've implemented category 2, so that means they start watering twice a week, which of course increases the consumption. So they're already aware of
Needs to be a question, Councillor Parker.
Level 2, I'm sorry, yeah.
Needs to be a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, over that?
Needs to be a question.
Okay.
Under that, yeah.
If other councils can go to 4 to 5 without consultation, why can't we go from 2 to 4?
I'd imagine they would have gone through consultation, but I have to take advice on that one. Mr Devitt? Yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, certainly, yeah, those other councils that are moving to that have been, in the regime for probably a greater amount of time, and as has been indicated, communities like Orange have been living under restrictions for probably 10 to 15 years, so they're much more conditioned to it, so that's why they respond better. So that's really the challenge for us.
Further comment? Councillor Lawrence. Yeah.
There's certainly a lot of common sense in the proposition that we would go straight to level 4, but it's one of those situations where common sense is not actually what it seems to be. And look, we've had speakers tonight who run very good businesses, and they're very good business people, and they've managed to manage their water use in a very efficient way. And we heard Mr Fletcher talk about the very significant reductions at his operation since April. But of course, it's obvious to say that a community of over 50,000 people is not the same as a big business. And if I thought for a moment that it would make a significant difference, that we would save a significant amount of water and that it wouldn't be counterproductive, I would certainly support what Councillor Parker says about going immediately to level 4. But it's one of those situations where what appears to be common sense on the expert advice of the staff is not so, and real and sustainable community change in this area needs time. It doesn't, on our advice, need a lot of time, but it certainly needs that time between the 1st of October and the 1st of November in order to get the businesses and get the community ready. So I'll certainly be supporting the amendment. And it is not for a lack of desire to make hard decisions. It's not that at all. It's not about shirking, anything like that at all. As I said, if I thought that it would make a difference, I wouldn't be supporting the amendment. I'd be moving one of my own to go straight to it, but it's not the expert advice that we have. And on that basis, I'll be supporting the amendment.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I firstly I'd acknowledge the speakers tonight. Very passionate and obviously some very good speakers and some great awareness of what we need to do here. I would like to acknowledge, and it was mentioned about the blame game. We've just got to stop blaming everyone, and we've got to do this as a community. It's so easy to point the finger at someone else, but we just need to get off that blame game. It's not the state government's fault, it's not council's fault, it's not the irrigators, it's us as a community, as the Central West community here in the Macquarie Valley. So we really need to focus on that. Obviously the awareness and put the challenge out to the community. I think we could probably make this a bit fun too. Like, instead of just telling people we're going to level 3 and level 4 and you just got to cut your water and you can't use it anymore, let's challenge the people to get it down and you know, give them a free day at the pool or something like that, an open day at the pool or something. Just a few ideas that just make a bit of a challenge, a bit of fun out of it. And just there's been a lot of commentary tonight around Dubbo. And we need to focus as Dubbo Regional Council as a whole community. It's Wellington, it's Geary, it's our outlying villages, Wongarbans, and obviously the further west as well. So we've got to acknowledge that we're all impacted here. But if we can work together, I know we can do this, and we just got to work together. Thank you.
Further comments, questions, councillors? No, Councillor Diffie.
Mr Mayor, I'm going to support the recommendation only because we're moving to, the amended recommendation, only because we've put in there that level 4, and I thank Councillor Gumley for that. It certainly, I would like to see it earlier, but obviously for reasons as has been discussed, that's not going to happen. But I'd also like to thank all our primary producers and farmers that are here tonight and businesses associated with the industry who have taken the time to attend and speak. Reality is, without them, Dubbo really doesn't exist. They are a large part of our community. And what Councillor Grant said is true. We need to stop playing the blame game, state government, local government, whoever. The reality is it needs to rain, and it needs to rain soon.
Further comment? Councillors? No? So I'll put the amendment. All those in favour of the amendment? All those opposed? Excellent. Okay. All right, the amendment now becomes the motion. And again, councillors, I just wish to reiterate that the importance of this is, I made a big song and dance at the last meeting of this council that it was my 20 years coming up. Well, I tell you what, this would have to be one of the most important decisions I have made on council in 20 years. This water crisis we have is critical. It needs to be taken very, very seriously, and I'll certainly be asking all councillors and all members of the community to get behind this, start talking it up, and more importantly, we need to have all the members of the community coming along with us on this journey as well. It's no point just putting in level 3, level 4, level 50 if no one's paying any attention to it. We need to get the community to come along with this one. So, being the case, any further comment, councillors? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too would like to thank the business community, especially primary producers, for coming along here tonight. As some primary producers know, today Councillor Gumley and myself went out to their place and had a look at the measures that they put in place of this hard, long, treacherous drought that we're all putting up with. I congratulate Mr Fletcher for coming along to Council tonight and offering his services, his money and his commitment to this community, which is outstanding, considering one of the biggest employers of Council one of the biggest employers of Dubbo want to stand by this council and help them to reduce water. We, as a peak body of the responsibility of our residents in Dubbo, have to get it through to them to stop just turning the tap on and walking off and leaving it. Whether it's in good times or whether it's in bad times, we need to start preserving water. And it's not only us that have to preserve water, it's everyone in this state, it's everyone in this country. We are one of the driest continents. One of the things that annoys me, and I've been on about water for most of this year, is we can't come together as every government in Australia and as a community to come through and have great ideas of how we can prevent councils like this having to go through measures to put enforcements in on people. We have to be forward-thinking. We have to come forward with different strategies, and we have to be not only thinking about when it rains again, but when it doesn't rain again, because it's going to happen. And we don't want to come back to here, why didn't we go on this water restriction, why didn't we go on that water restriction? And everyone's learning from this every day, whether it's local government, state government or federal government. Everyone needs to come together, and I've said this all along. We can't blame certain levels of government for not having water. We can, it's easy, but it's not going to solve anything. It really won't solve anything. And we have some pretty knowledgeable people, not only in our area, but in the farming community, that need to come together and solve realistic solutions for this problem. Not for this drought, but for the next drought, and then every drought after that. We know how bad this drought is. Let's hope the next one isn't twice as bad, because if that's the way it's going to go, we need to be ready for it. We don't need businesses like Fletcher's shutting down. We don't need primary producers switching off the tap, which feed this community. Every living organism in this world needs water. We need to start preserving it. Dubbo residents need to come on board and say enough is enough and start doing it. We had climate action here on last Friday. This is a perfect time for the community to stand up and say, well, we can do it. We can conserve water without being stupid about it. So I welcome this. I welcome Councillor Gumley's amendment. Unfortunately, we can't jump to level 4 water restrictions, which we all want, but we have to be sensible, we have to be realistic, and we have to bring the community up to date of how to conserve water. We went through our operational plan, and the problem was that we're charging too much for water, but the tap keeps flowing. Unfortunately, that's good for council in a view that people are keeping their yards up to date and making sure Dubbo is an attractive city and through tourism and so on. But we have to come back to the reality is it's a precious source that we need to preserve, and we need to preserve it not only for this generation but for next generations and generations after that, because there is a lot more communities in New South Wales and in Australia that are a lot more dire than what we are. We are fortunate that we have aquifers under Dubbo, but we need to be responsible. We need to maintain them. We mustn't act irrationally about this. So I welcome this motion. I welcome your mayoral minute, and I just hope that the community of Dubbo region Dubbo region and Australia come on board and preserve water.
Okay.
Minute. If I could also just briefly address what a couple of the speakers said about a divisive blame game. I'd like to echo the sentiments of Councillor Diffie and Councillor Moore and others. If there is a blame game going on in terms of people in the community blaming local irrigators for water problems, it should stop. It's very clear from the advice that we have, and Ms Booth also spoke to this, that there is no contest between town water and the needs of the community, small businesses and so forth, and the water used for irrigation. The town water will always, in the worst case scenario, have priority, and people in the community should understand that. There shouldn't be a blame game, and no one can blame any sector of the economy, and we're dealing here with the most important one, for seeking to advance a legitimate interest that they have in reducing water usage, because if we do get to a worst case scenario, and we all certainly hope that we don't, where the river runs dry and the towns are not using river water, and there is then reduction in high security licences and so forth, then the town's needs, or the needs of the towns, will take priority. And I would certainly never criticise any economic player who sought to advance their interests. This is a highly regulated area. It's regulated primarily by the state government, and no one could ever criticise any business or any sector of the economy who acts in accordance with the law, acts in accordance with the regulatory structure, and seeks to advance their interests. So for all those reasons, there should be no blame game at all. And if there's any perception of that in terms of things that Council has said and done, it should be dispelled. It's simply not the case. This is an incredibly complex area, and I've had the misfortune of having to speak on water generally in various different capacities, and it's incredibly difficult to understand the detail of it. So look, various things might have been said, and we're talking here about water issues that vary across the state, and there certainly can be very legitimate criticisms made of the state government in respect of other areas of the state and different ways that water has been managed, but it is not an issue here locally. There shouldn't be any blame game at all. I certainly support the minute. I support particularly what is proposed in respect of the public education campaign. It's so important. We need to send the message to the community locally that water usage has to be reduced, and all sorts of practical measures are going to be undertaken in that regard, which is very good to hear. I would certainly also hope that our communication strategy can in some way address and negate some of the very alarmist and misleading reporting that has been going on, particularly in the Sydney papers, and some of the things that have been reported there which are false, in my view, are damaging to the reputation of our region, and they suggest things, alarmist things that are not the case. But the message locally has to be about the reduction of water use in very significant ways. So look, for all those reasons, I certainly support the minute as amended. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Gumley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I'm not interested in playing a blame game, and I suspect that some of the comments that I've made in the past, some people might think that it falls into that category, but I just ask people that they allow council, certainly, if we are being criticised and the criticism is, in our opinion, unwarranted, well then we ought to have a right of reply and to put the record straight. Ultimately, I'd like to thank Mr Devitt and all of the staff who were involved in getting this report together. They've done a great job, and I know that there's been lots of hours put in to have this ready for tonight's meeting. The debate, as a consequence of the situation that our community finds itself in, has been significantly narrowed, because the importance of water increases day on day as we don't see any rain. And that's, of course, why I moved the amendment tonight. But it's important to understand that when I moved the original motion in May, it was on a much broader scale, and I thank all of the councillors for supporting that motion in May, so that now we have a roadmap, if you will, even for when it does rain. This, if I have my way, will still be at the forefront of our minds until all of the recommendations and options have been delivered, so that, as Councillor Moore said, the likelihood that the next drought is more severe and longer, we won't necessarily have to have these debates in the chamber, because we'll be as ready as we possibly can be. I look forward to the community members that have come along tonight supporting council as they've said they will, and I look forward to seeing what that ultimately looks like, because we need more community encouraging the community rather than 10 councillors in the chamber saying you ought to use less water. Again, I'd just like to thank the staff for the effort that they've put in for this long-term strategy, and thank the councillors who I hope will support the minute. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Okay, further questions, comments, councillors? No, I put the motion. Any, all those in favour? Opposed? Carried. Okay, councillors, we now move on to matters considered by committees. First up, we have the report of the Planning, Development and Environment Committee meeting of the 9th of September 2019. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Planning, yes. Move Councillor Lawrence, seconder Councillor Diffie. Any discussion or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? Right, carried. Just adjourn for 30 seconds to allow the public to leave. For clarification, we did have a mover and seconder for Planning, Development and Environment Committee meeting. I think we did do the... We went through that? Okay, right. Okay. Report of the Infrastructure, Community and Recreation Committee meeting of the 9th of September 2019. Can I have a mover of that? Councillor Lawrence, a seconded Councillor Jones. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? No, carried. We have CCL 19/171, report of the Economic Development, Business and Corporate Committee meeting of the 9th of September 2019. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Parker. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? No, carried. Now we have a notice of motion in the name of Councillor John Ryan. Councillor Ryan has requested that this motion lapse. Councillor Ryan is actually quite crook tonight, spluttering everywhere with a cough. So he's asked for that motion to lapse. So we move on now to reports from staff. Firstly, we have quarter report on documents executed under the power of attorney. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Etheridge, seconded Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I put that. All those in favour? Carried. And now we I declare it carried. Sorry. Now we move on to CCL 19/174, disclosure of interest returns, please. Can I have a mover? Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? Right, no, carried. And just for council's information and members of the public's information, that information on the disclosures is available up here with the Manager of Governance. Up next, CCL 19/175, Dubbo Regional Council representation to the Taronga Conservation Society Australia Board. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Lawrence. A seconder, please. Councillor Parker. Any discussion or debate on that matter?
Mr Mayor, I move that the nominees be you, the Mayor, Councillor Ben Shields. I don't know if I have to move this as an amendment.
It's an amendment on top of, yeah.
I move an amendment to the motion so that the motion would read the Council nominate the Mayor, Councillor Ben Shields and Councillor Victoria Etheridge as the nominee and alternate nominee for representation to the Board of the Taronga Conservation Society Australia.
Okay. Seconded Councillor Moore. So discussion on the debate to send myself and Councillor Victoria Etheridge to the Conservation Society. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No. I put that. All those in favour? No. All opposed? Declare it carried. Now we move on to CCL 19/176, Community Services Fund. Oh, sorry. The amendment's now become a motion. Sorry. Now, any further discussion on the motion? No. I put that. All those in favour? Right, no. Carried. Now we move on to the Community Services Fund, Community Benefit Funding in accordance with Section 356 of the Local Government Act 1993. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that matter? Councillor Diffie.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary significant interest as I'm currently chairperson of the board of Arana Early Childhood Intervention, an applicant for funding through Community Services Fund, and I will leave the room.
Okey-dokey. Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Also myself, I will declare a non-pecuniary significant interest in this matter. I am currently the council representative on the board of the Dubbo Neighbourhood Centre, trading as Connecting Community Services, so I'll be leaving the room.
Thank you, Councillor Grant. Further discussion or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? No, carried. Declare it carried. If someone can invite Councillor Grant and Councillor Diffie back into the room. We now move on to... Oh, sorry. We now move on to CCL 19/177, the 2019-2020 Financial Assistance Program of Round 1. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Parker. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No. I put that. All those in favour? Right, no, carried. Now we move to CCL 19/178, Schedule of Fees for Aquatic Leisure Centres and Dubbo Regional Botanic Garden. Can I have a mover of that one? Move Councillor Gumley. A seconder, please. Councillor Parker. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No. Okie dokie. I put that. All those in favour? No, carried. Now we have CCL 19/179, Dubbo Regional Theatre and Convention Centre winner of 2019, the Drover Award for Performing Arts Centre of the Year. So we do have the manager, Linda Christoph, and Functions Officer, Dimity Middleton, present tonight to show off the award that the staff fantastically won, and to show off the award which they do very, very well, running our fantastic theatre. So, Ms. Christoph. Yeah, grab a photo? Yeah, sure. And considering it is a second award in as many months, I think it's high time that we actually get a photo with all councillors, because it's gone even far over and above just the mayor this time. So. Other than the award says it all, they do a very, very good job. And the second award in as many months, it's extremely good to hear. So thank you. Thank you very much from the council. If you can pass that on particularly to your staff, we are very well aware that they do a fantastic job. Thank you. Okay, all those in favour? I know, carried. Now we'll move on to the CCL 19/118, the assigning of a deed of consent for subleasing arterial cafe area of the Royal Flying Doctor Service Base. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Gumley, seconded Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. And we now move into comments and matters of urgency. This month we'll start with Councillor Etheridge. Thank you. Councillor Lawrence, Councillor Gumley, Councillor Jones, Councillor Diffie, Councillor Grant, Councillor Moore, Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, it certainly would be remiss of me not to mention this morning highlights of the last weekend. Firstly, Manly defeated Souths and Storm gave Parramatta a lesson. And in Dubbo, we had what a weekend it was. We had the visit and expedition of the A-League from Newcastle Jets and the Sydney FC Football Club, which was a 0-0 draw. So, given the dusty conditions that was experienced that Saturday, it was a pretty bloody awful day. But the crowd numbers, whilst were very good, were down because of the dusty conditions. So, firstly, congratulations to Natasha and her team for organising such a successful event, and congratulations to Sky and her team for the ground preparation. It certainly looked pretty good. Look, I thought the opportunity for young soccer players benefited from the coaching clinic and also the playing. They've had a few kicks and what have you. I'm sure they all had a wonderful time. To quote one parent on Facebook, what an opportunity for this event to come to Dubbo and for our kids to attend. They had no idea who the players were, but to meet them and have their ball signed was pretty cool. I actually spoke to a couple sitting in front of me. Actually, there was 4 of them, husband and wife, husband and wife. They were a lot older than me, so they must have been 70 or 80. So, so it just goes to prove that the ages of all ages, they come and watch football. So then I asked them where they came from, and they said Newcastle. And you can see that I knew where they came because they had the jet scarf around them and what have you, but being a bit sort of inquisitive, that's what I said. So anyway, that's where they came from. Anyway, the commentator was going around with his microphone and he asked a young lady sitting in the crowd where she came from. And she actually travelled from Newcastle that morning to watch the game. So I guess that just goes to prove that visitation from fans outside of Dubbo sure has an economic benefit to our city. Mr Mayor and myself learned a few things from soccer. I'm certainly not an expert. He learnt that the round ball in the middle of the field actually was a ball and it had to be kicked into the nets. So no malice there, Mr Mayor, but great to see you taking interest in sporting events. Once again to the council team and also to the sponsors of the event, a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Parker. I certainly did get an education about how it all works, and I think you and me together, we really knew a lot about it. Not much at all, actually, so, but we're there to learn, so here we are. Okay, councillors, that does conclude this meeting of Dubbo Regional Council. I'd thank you for your attendance. Thank you.